guys need no introduction, but I'll introduce them anyway. Jake Plummer is a 10-year veteran of the NFL, where he played quarterback for both the Arizona Cardinals and the Denver Broncos. Today, he is the co-founder and CEO of functional mushroom supplement company Umbo. And Daymond John, of course, is the founder and CEO of FUBU and the Shark Group, and a 3-time Inc. magazine cover subject. Welcome both.
The top Inc. magazine cover.
Jake, I want to start with you. All food is functional in some ways because it nourishes our body, but people seek out specific food for specific reasons, for the same reason you'd grab an ibuprofen if you have a headache. When did you first start seeking out mushrooms, and how did that happen?
It's a great story, and you left out Arizona State Sun Devils. That's where it all started here in town. Go Devils. I was lucky to be raised by a mother that was very health conscious. My grandma was a Seventh-day Adventist, so she was a vegetarian back before that became the in thing to be. And so I was raised to know what I was putting in my body has an effect on your long-term health. And once I got out of the game, our bodies, our brains, our spirits take quite a hit during that time. I was able to, through good close friends, get in touch with a form of natural healing with Charlotte's Web hemp oil. From that journey and what it did to me, I met my best friend and business partner, Del Jolly, who gave me some mushroom tinctures right before the pandemic. I felt my inflammation leave my body. I felt more energy. I was sleeping better. Just felt like I was functioning better. And for me, when I have something like that happen, I got to get it out to all my people, all my friends, all my former teammates, and let them know there's a way out there that's natural with no side effects that can help you feel better and function better. And so we started Umbo, and the whole thing behind that was to help fund a nonprofit that's researching all fungi and finding out what they can be used for, not only functional mushrooms, but also psychedelic mushrooms, to do it responsibly so that we can bring some healing to the people that are seeking that.
And what kind of daily routine do you have when it comes to functional mushrooms?
It's crazy. It's all over the place. Because I, as an entrepreneur, I guess you could say I am one because I love an opportunity. And I love to go and find something that works for me and then take it out and hopefully find people that are willing to listen if they're wanting to get healthy. So a regular day for me, it can consist of having a group meeting twice a week. Going out, I always carry samples with me, so I'm handing those out. I am the face of the company along with Rashad Evans, who some of you may know, a former UFC Hall of Famer. And as athletes, we know what our bodies were put through to perform. And so post-career, we really are in touch with how our body reacts to certain foods, stimuli, rest, and all that. And so being an athlete, it was a no-brainer for me to make sure to go out and speak about this. I'm very passionate about longevity. I want to live a long time. You all are invited to my 95th birthday party at a trampoline park somewhere. That's in 45 years, but if you're all around, come out and jump on a trampoline with me. You got to put your mind in that frame of thought that you can be healthy and be active. And if there's natural intelligence, which I think fungi, the whole kingdom, I like to call it a queendom, because I believe it's the mother of creation. If it's something natural that can help you function better, sleep better, your nervous system, react to stress, all this stuff, I believe we need to get the word out.
I'm glad you brought up longevity. Daymond, as you know, certain species of sharks can live 250 years or more. You have some longevity goals of your own.
Yeah.
Tell me about those.
Well, I was talking backstage. I faced cancer in 2017, and I wasn't smart enough as Jake, and to understand about my body. I never really was an athlete. The only thing I was trying to do as an athlete was win the hot dog eating competition. And in 2017, when I faced it, I became unhealthy. At that, even worse, I drank more, and then 2020 came with the pandemic, and I was really bad. My wife, our significant others are really can be a big blessing. She's a big biohacker / longevity. Biohacking is a fancy word for longevity. And I started working with people such as Dr. Amen, Gary Brecka, Dave Asprey, and other people to try to improve my health. But I always found it intimidating because you have great athletes who understood how to be the best physical specimen in the world, and then of course, put that into to motion, right? I always got intimidated by doctors or these scientists or these great-looking bodies. And then I realized that I didn't have to do that. There's no one cure to anything, right? We're always microdosing ourselves, and we have to figure out what works best for us. So I kind of call myself more like the Anthony Bourdain of biohacking. I'm going down this path, and I'm learning every single day. Once we leave here, I'm going to ask Jake so many questions about what's going on with functional health and mushrooms and things like that. So now, what do? Everybody thinks biohacking and longevity is expensive. No, it's not. I fast 30 to 40 hours a week. That doesn't cost any money. I realize that I've gained more of my life back by intermittent fasting and doing that because we're often thinking about food all day long, and I've gained 2 to 3 hours back of my life. I do everything from cold plunges to, whatever the case is, blue methionine and all the red lights and things of that nature. And I'm constantly going back and looking at how can I reduce the acidness of the acid in my body, reduce inflammation, increase, my productivity. And it's been great. I found so many people, all my fellow sharks have been now, after 17 years, the one thing that we all are doing now as the sharks of what we learned, we're all generally biohacking.
Yeah.
Mark Cuban no longer drinks. Kevin O'Leary went from 9 bottles a night to 1 of wine. I get pissed off because Robert, who's the healthiest person on the planet, said, man, Daymond, I was only doing long distance running. I wasn't thinking about building muscle. And now that guy who was already healthy is pissing me off, making me look bad. And one of the prettiest men I know on the planet. But anyway, that's what I'm doing. I am constantly going down this rabbit hole of, trying to find the best things that work for my body. And with AI out today, I just invested in a company called Lotus Health. We can tie all your HIPAA together. You don't have to talk to 10 doctors anymore. All your HIPAA, it goes all the way into your Apple Watch or various other things, and and show you how to gain more sleep, which is most important. So that's who I am at the end of the day, because I am going to be, juggling at Jake's party at 95 years old.
All right, well.
Yes.
Thanks.
But do you have a specific goal, like 150 years?
I do. I believe with the way that technology is changing, if you can live the next 5 years, you'll be able to live to 120 healthy. I don't know if I want to live to 150, 100, 200 years old, but because, I don't know if I want to live that long. But, yes, I do have a goal of living to 120. I've been telling everybody that.
Jake, can you talk about the various different UMBO products and how people are consuming mushrooms in different ways in general?
Yeah, our first thing that we developed was a bar. A lot of people, when you speak about mushrooms, like, ooh, I don't like the taste of mushrooms. They maybe have had them on their pizza or on a burger or out of a can, and that's just, they taste good, they're okay for you. And then we were realizing a lot of these companies that were claiming to be a mushroom company were just doing what we call pixie dusting, just putting a little bit in there and saying it's a mushroom bar with 25 milligrams of cordyceps or lion's mane or something like that. So we really wanted to raise the bar and come out with a product that had 2.5 grams of functional mushrooms in it. So our bars are both, very tasty. I refuse to put something out there that I don't love to eat and not only crave, but I enjoy eating. And so we started with our bars. We have our bars now distributed nationwide through REI. And that came from me giving a bar to a friend whose wife managed the Boulder REI. We were playing handball, and he gave it to her, and she's like, these are good. We should get these in REI. Cool. So that's how I do business.
Word of mouth.
Yeah, and so, we did that. We got bars. Our best sellers are our capsules, our Rise capsules, and our Rest. You mentioned sleep. Sleep is an issue a lot of people have trouble with. So we have a sleep formula that's 5 stars across the board, reviews. People love it. I take it every night. It has reishi, lion's mane, and L-theanine in it, all natural products. It's not artificial intelligence, it's natural intelligence. And when you can use AI to mix into learning more about these specimens, then I think the sky is the limit for not only increasing our lifespan, but also increasing our health span, because I don't want to live to be 150 if my health span goes away at 110.
Yeah.
I want to live 150 but still be functioning and thinking clearly and having a body that functions well enough to maintain 150 if that's the case. We also have some liquid extracts, lion's mane, reishi, turkey tail, cordyceps. And you know, these are terms you're like maybe hearing for the first time, but there's the whole mushroom queendom would be like everybody in this room. 2.5 to 3 million different species. Only 6% of those are the mushrooms you see that grow out of the ground. Of those, what we've found is maybe this little section over here, just half of that section. The ones that we use and put in our bodies is maybe this front row over here. So Paul Stamets, who is the resident genius on mushrooms, he doesn't know shit. He only knows that. This is what we have to work with. So as we grow into this and we realize nature can provide so many ways of healing, we've evolved next to this organism forever, since the beginning of time. You know, we're going to open the door to more health and wellness, longevity. Sick and tired of feeling sick and tired, there's ways out there, not just mushrooms. Love hearing that some of your cohorts have stopped drinking alcohol. That's something I stopped doing also, and incorporating movement and yoga and breath work and all these natural ways that don't cost you anything, but you can really find some relief from anxiety by just taking some really good breaths. And so I'm all about any of that because I've got a lot of good friends and people I love dearly that are struggling with the damage we did to our brains, number one, but also our bodies. So if there's a way out there and there are people out there that are interested in what I'm saying, research needs to be done. That costs money. We're always looking for people that want to continue to push this down the road and help. And that's really why I'm doing this.
Daymond, from the standpoint of an investor, when did it become clear to you that there's a specific segment of food and beverage called functional food and beverage that deserved its own category? And what are the trends that you're following in functional food and beverage?
You know, it was only over probably the last 3 years, and I started to invest in companies like Symbiotica and the various other ones, and I realized that it was really with the rise of AI that people started to take their own health into their own hands. And I realized that we're on, you know, of course, and thank God we're at the Inc. 5000. We're in the middle of a bunch of A-type personalities who are always on the forefront. The people in this room are the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. And I know that it really hasn't taken its hold just yet. And that's how I've always been. I've been somebody that, whether it was I love this new thing called hip hop coming around, and I love this so much that I created a company called Fubu because I just want to have conversation with other people about clothes and hip hop. I loved starting to do investing. I realized I didn't want to be the smartest person in the room. Can I invest in a company of somebody younger and smarter than me? And then all of a sudden I got called for a show called Shark Tank. And now, you know, when I look at where we are with functional medicine and functional food, I started slowly investing in it because I just wanted to be around people to have the same conversation every single day. But I think it's really AI. And people here, you know, I'm sure that, you know, you get confused and you get scared about talking about this type of stuff. With AI, it's really important that you can use it every day. You can ask your chat or whatever it is every 2 minutes a question. Yeah. Because one thing that we all have in common as entrepreneurs in this room, we're so of service to others, we're not of service to ourselves. I lost 28 people in the last 14 months. And every single funeral that I went to, I never heard of what somebody had. I heard about how they made somebody feel. You may know many of them, you know, John Amos, Matumbo, Irv Gotti, Fat Man Scoop. I've lost all these people. And when I check my AI, I can look at all of my meds and all of my nutrition, and I can just take a picture of it in the AI and say, when should I eat this? And it goes, well, you can't have iron during over here. Why are you taking, this is literally what happened the other day. I looked in there and it said, why are you taking the baby aspirin? Had you had a stent in your heart or a cardiovascular challenge? And I said, no. And he said, well, then, because the doctor told me I travel 250 days out of the year, and the doctor told me that it would reduce clotting on the plane. AI said, you're probably going to bleed out in your brain faster than you would if you were taking it for clotting. I didn't know that. So I started looking and going down this rabbit hole, and we all have that ability to do it. You can look in your fridge and take a picture of everything you have and say, make me a dinner tonight that's going to reduce inflammation, not keep me up, and not bother my acid reflux. So I'm starting to look at any and all products and or companies that are addressing this matter, because this is where we're at right now. This is what we call the double bottom line of when I invest.
Jake, something I've heard many times is if you want to get your mind right, you got to get your body right. And exercise is a big part of that. It's not just diet. But can you talk about the connection between diet and psychology?
Ooh, yeah, there's a lot of people, probably maybe some in the crowd, that know a lot more than me, but just through experience, it's really how I like to learn. I mentioned giving up drinking alcohol. I still enjoy a lot of good food. You know, I mean, there were donuts in the green room, I probably would have eaten one. But I don't lament about it. I don't say, oh, I shouldn't be eating this. Because words have power. And I believe that thoughts drive the energy. Where your thoughts are going, your energy flows. And so if you're giving all your power away to eating pizza and convincing yourself that I'm gonna feel like crap tomorrow, you're probably gonna feel like crap tomorrow. But if you eat pizza with joy and play that game with your mind of like, pizza is gonna make me, I'm gonna get up and go on a huge run, you'll probably wake up and go on a huge run. And it may take a little willpower, a little convincing. But yeah, food has such as we're realizing the gut-brain connection, and we're also realizing the heart and lung connection when it comes to breathing. And when you can breathe through your lungs, it opens the heart. A lot of people doing breath work use breath work before they sit down with their therapist, because the lungs are so closely connected to the heart. Our gut and what you put in it is going to really fire your brain. We've all had brain fog after Thanksgiving dinner coming up here in a little bit. You know, we're all go sit down and nod off watching the Cowboys play the Giants or something like that. But there's definitely a connection with food, what you're putting in your body, and then just your mindset in general of how you're ingesting whatever it is you're ingesting. And there's proof in that because of there's ladies and men that live to be 103, and every day they have a shot of whiskey and they smoke a cigarette. That's not the recipe AI is gonna give you. Hey, have some whiskey and a cigarette,
right?
Daymond, that'll help you. But it's because they're doing it as a joyful thing, as something that they're probably doing with their community or with their friends. So being an athlete, you had to believe. Being an athlete, being a quarterback, I had to convince others to believe. So as I go out into this world and I see what's next for me, what's next for me? I got a lot of life to live. Being able to help people understand and maybe start to believe there's a better way, and there are ways that you can approach your health and wellness, and it doesn't take a real strict, regimented diet. It just takes the willpower and the desire to want to feel better. And that may just be waking up, taking a huge breath, and saying, I'm so glad to be alive. And that's right there enough to get you up and going.
I never met Jake before, but I got to tell you, I couldn't agree more, you know, because the reason why I call myself the biohacking shark is I love carbs, I love sugar. I've never met a golden corral that I haven't stopped at, you know, end of the day, right? And I travel 250 days a year. I have a 9-year-old. You would say, well, Daymond, you make your own schedule. My 9-year-old couldn't give a shit about my schedule. But you know what? Like he said, you know, I enjoy life, but I enjoy also these other things, you know?
I think you were asked once on Shark Tank, what has changed since you were first starting out or since you got on the show, and you said, I stopped sleeping. It sounds like you've gotten your sleep back into a better place. Both of you, what do you aim for in hours a night, and are you successful in that?
Well, you can monitor it now, right? I got a Sleep 8 mattress. I don't have no investment in that company. I put magnesium on my feet. It knocks me right out, you know, before I go to bed. I make sure that I cut off all the blue lights and all those things to not get my mind running and stuff like that. And I'm looking, I used to sleep an average of 4 hours. I'm sleeping now on average about 6 hours. I'm looking at my REM, and I'm looking at the data. I'm plugging the data right into AI and saying, what else can I do? You know, I'm blacking out everything in the room. Making sure it's very cold and things of that nature. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things you can actually do.
And traveling 250 days a year, you still are able to get that?
I sleep as much as I can. I mean, you know, this week I was in Saudi Arabia, and I just got in from Saudi Arabia, and where was I yesterday, Maury? Where was I? DC, and I'm gonna be in Minneapolis tonight. I'm going to figure this thing out. I'll fit it in. And I got 8 other cities by next Friday.
Jake, what about you and sleep per night?
Yeah, sleep, I'd like to try to get 7 hours of sleep.
Okay.
You know, and of course, just like Daymond said, you know, shutting down things. I've done enough today, I can't do any more. At some point, you have to tell yourself that. But I also use our replenishing sleep capsules. And the beautiful thing about my sleep and the lion's mane, what it does to your brain and the neuronal growth and repair and expansion, your dreams and your dream state are unbelievable. So if you don't dream, give our stuff a shot, because like if you're not dreaming, you're not hitting that deep REM sleep. That's your recovery. That's the time that your body goes back into healing itself.
Were you going to say something?
You know, I know we have limited time, and I could give so many different tips and stuff. I'll give you an example. You go to your house, you put your phone on slow-mo, and you video all the bulbs in your house. You know, on slow-mo, if you see them blinking like this is what's going on in your brain every single day. You just got to change those bulbs to the older bulbs or the bulbs that don't do that. This is stuff that is keeping us up and running all the time.
Great point.
Jake, do you run into resistance when you're talking about mushrooms, misconceptions that you dispel, and what do people not buy into, if anything, and how do you kind of convince them?
That's a great question, because we're being from Colorado, one of the first states to decriminalize psilocybin mushrooms that are a psychedelic that have been used for millennia for the evolution of, if you've heard of the stoned ape theory, theory of how we evolved so quickly, how our brains expanded so fast, was through getting out of the cave and wandering, chasing herds of animals and eating the little brown mushrooms out of their manure that were taking us on these spiritual psychedelic journeys of mind expansion. So that's what a lot of people think about. They think of microdosing, which is also just a small amount of a psychedelic that you can take daily that's having, the research is out there. Unlimitedsciences.org is our nonprofit that was really the motivation behind forming UMBO, because when you go ask for money from corporations, if you're a psychedelic research company, a lot of times they say no. Big car companies, they're not gonna fund this. So UMBO, as we grow, will be able to fund the responsible research of not just psychedelics, but all fungi, as we're using reishi and lion's mane to help children with mood disorders and behavioral disorders. They're doing sleep studies with reishi and lion's mane. So it's great, it's fun. I get to talk to so many different people in so many different arenas. A lot of times it's football, because that's what I'm known for. I can feel the wall go up as soon as I mention mushrooms, of somebody that doesn't know anything else besides psychedelics and hallucinogens, and not wanting to give up that control to learn something about themselves. So it's fun to no, I'm talking functional mushrooms. And they say, well, what is that? I'm like, well, our bars are sold at REI, and functional mushrooms are like lion's mane. Oh, I've heard of that. Or cordyceps. Oh, isn't that zombie fungus from The Last of Us on HBO? Of course it is. Yeah, those were zombies, but we're taking our mushrooms and taking zombies and turning them into functional humans that can actually look you in the eye, walk around upright, and have a really meaningful conversation, connect, help you, be here, be present. We are here for such a short time. Let's all get present with our feet on the ground and do what we can to all live a better life. So it's fun, it's what I do, and like I mentioning Paul Stamets, who I respect with so much regard, we're learning something new every day. We're learning something new about the small amount that we know every day. And the exciting part is that it's not just for food and functionality, it's for goods like leather, and for cleaning up our waters, for helping with oil spills. Mushrooms and mycelium are everywhere. Watch Fantastic Fungi, an amazing documentary. If you don't know much about mushrooms, you want to learn more, watch Fantastic Fungi, and then
Fantastic Fungi?
Fantastic Fungi. Just think of us three up here, Fantastic Fun Guys.
We're all fun guys.
And then you'll go down that rabbit hole, and you will thank me in years down the road, be like, thank you for that advice. It's just, this is where we're going, and some people see it, some people don't, but it's an exciting journey.
Daymond, for entrepreneurs in the room who maybe aren't in the food and beverage industry themselves, what trends about food and beverage, functional food and beverage, do you think that they should just be aware of because it's what their customers are doing? Or what trends do you think that you would want to enlighten them on?
I generally don't speak on trends because I've always told people you have to trust your gut and don't do things that are whether a trend or it looks good on paper, because I always say that, your gut is the only thing you don't have to qualify to anybody. You don't trust, if you don't believe in it because your gut, just don't do it.
Okay.
So I generally try not to stay on trends. It has to be something that you want to talk about every day, whether you are getting paid from it or not.
The concept of nootropics is controversial because some people say, oh, it's just a placebo, and supplements in general get painted with a broad brush. Are there any that you were skeptical of, either of you, that you were skeptical of at first, but then something changed your mind? Or is there anything that you think isn't worth investing in?
Yeah, I mean, I don't, this term nootropics, I guess it has to deal mostly with, your brain health and cognition, and I think it really is more about like herbs and nature and natural things that are grown on this great, beautiful planet we live on. And as we want to label them something like a nootropic, as mushrooms are adaptogens, some of the most powerful adaptogens on the planet, and some of the best anti-inflammatories and antioxidants you can find on the planet that are natural. We're talking about natural products. So to me, it's like, it's not new tropics, as in new, it's like ancient tropics. This is going back to our roots, where we were out foraging and finding something that could help stop the bleeding. There's herbs everywhere that can counter anything that we come across. So nootropics is a hot trend. These things will go through their process, but I'm not bringing anything new to the table here.
You're actually only uncovering what all big pharma have known for years.
Yeah.
That's all you're doing.
Yeah, I mean,
they've been just pushing it down.
Ancient technologies is what we're talking about when you're talking fungi, at least from my standpoint.
Yeah. Daymond, what about the companies Abs Protein Pancakes and Pro-Nrg protein drink? Clearly, you did not invest in those because of trends. You just saw something in the products that you liked.
I saw something in the founders, and those may not relate to today. Those were like 10 years ago. I saw something in the founders. I always, but that was when I was investing in things, and I bought a bunch of CrossFit gyms, and I kept thinking, if I invest in them and I don't do them, I'm going to be healthy. Didn't work out.
By osmosis, yeah. Any other examples of how you look to food to kind of optimize your life?
Well, before I go about foods, I got to tell you one thing that, and many of you, I wanted to tell you this, as I said, 2017, 2021, I was unhealthy. But once I started getting healthy, as entrepreneurs here, when I used to go into my oncologist to check my 6 months of cancer, I'm cancer-free, I would say, let's see how it's going now. I go in there cocky with a nasty-ass attitude now. Because I go in there going, I know I'm good, and if I'm not, guess what? I left everything on the field. And it's just my time for God to take me. But, that concern that I used to have before then, it weighs you down so much about not knowing if you're taking care of yourself because you're so busy taking care of others. And I think it's just a peace of mind. And not only food, there's a lot of stuff they're finding in medicine. Go look at what a biohacking dentist is. Think about this. Have you ever had any piece of bone in your body that's rotting, filled with parasites? You know where that's at? It's right here whenever you've had an extraction 20 years ago, or when you had an impacted tooth. If you look at that bone that was connected to an organ, there's probably a lot of parasites around it. It was never cleaned the proper way, and it's going right up here. So there's a lot of things that we can do now that science has shown us, and I'm looking at all of that every single day.
You noted that mycology, the study of fungi, is early innings. It's so vast. Is there anything that you're excited about coming around the corner in product development at your company, or the next delivery method for mushrooms?
Yeah, I mean, we're always looking for new ways to, as we joke sometimes, just to get it into people's mouths so they can say, wow, these mushrooms are pretty tasty. So there's some things coming around the corner. Go back to like with food and stay curious. When you lose your curiosity and you lose your ability to seek something better, then you fall back into the groove of just going in a circle, hoping you feel
And that's
better.
about your body, your faith,
Yes.
your relationship, and definitely your business. That's very powerful.
Stay curious and seek. Don't be the all-knowing. There's someone else out there that can help you.
Hey, Maury, don't go anywhere. By the way, this is Maury Chewakey from Shark Tank. Anybody seen the Hanukkah tree topper? I know that Jake and I are very busy. I'm going to run right out of here. But if anybody wants to work with us, with the Shark Group or me, or do deals, you go to that guy right there. There you go, Maury. Wave your hand, everybody. All right. And do me. I'm sorry to break, but I put this on your chair for everybody to read. Do their goals. Set goals, homework. Do what you love. Remember, you're the brand. Keep swimming, and make sure you definitely scan that so you can find ways to work with us, because I know that we're going to run right out of here.
Yeah, well, until Jake's 95th birthday, which is 45 years from now, I think, we'll see you all there. Jake, Daymond, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you, Ink.